Welcome back. Now we start the program in earnest, and we're looking at Nigeria 2015, the task ahead. It is no longer news that GMB, General Muhammadu Buhari, won the presidential election, which was conducted on March 28th. What somewhat took people by surprise was the show of sportsmanship and statesmanship by the incumbent president, Goodluck Jonathan, the day the results were announced. In fact, he made that phone call before you and I got the results. So he knew before we did that he had lost the elections, and he did this great act, which singularly by many people is regarded as the act that has kept Nigeria one as we speak. Now, to look at this issue of the task ahead with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome the spokesperson for the INEC the spokesperson to the INEC chairman, Mr. Kayode Idowu.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning. And next to him is the President, Leadership Watch, Dr. Martin Ziwanyawu.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. And on my right is Mr. Dare Gulana, who's a security expert.
Good morning, everybody.
As well as Mr. Osita Okechukwu of the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, CNPP.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning. Let me first of all congratulate Mr. Idowu of the INEC. For some reason, which may be obvious to some people, INEC came out of this smelling of roses. So, job well done to all of you at INEC. Dr. Wayawu, when you heard the results on Wednesday, I think it was, the final results came out on Wednesday, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, immediately I had a result. What came to my mind was first to reflect on what transpired in 2011 and to say to myself that it is good it has happened this way, even though that may not be the expectation of most people, but it has to happen first, considering God's factor. I think God does not take pleasure in the loss of lives of innocent people. And I have wondered what would have been the situation if the reverse were to be the case. So for me, it is not a victory for General Muhammad Buhari. It's not a victory to anybody other than Nigerians and for democracy. Because at least, like you rightly said in your introduction, President Jonathan was able to demonstrate that sportsmanship. And besides, there is prevalent peace and calm everywhere in Nigeria. There is nobody being slaughtered anywhere. So for me, that gives me the greatest joy.
Okay, Mr. Nano. Okay, so the war has been won and lost, and come May 29th, we shall have a new government. A new party will come into power. To your mind, what are the immediate things that this new government has to look at?
Well, thank you very much. Well, like you said, I've not seen anybody losing any war. It's a win-win situation for everybody, and I should congratulate the entire Nigerian. In the letter written to the president-elect by General Olusegun Obasanjo, he advised him that what he needs to do at this point in time is to ensure that we heal those wounds, because in the issue of Nigeria, we've never been divided like this before. So in the last 4 years, we have been seriously divided. No Christians against Muslims, Boko Haram in the north, no Niger Delta saying, okay, if you don't vote for our son, this is going to be the problem. So we've never been divided like this before. So the president-elect must start by healing those wounds, by seeing it as a victory for entire Nigerian, because whether we like it or not, when they say, I read Professor Wole Soyinka saying Nigerians were hero, I will be going to say Nigerian, but I would say Jonathan is an hero in this case because he has choice, of course. Bagbo saw it, they warned him also, don't do this, but he still went ahead, costing that trouble. But today, Jonathan, well, after he has no option in the first instance, no option for him, but he did consider defeat, Because if not for that, by now, killing will be going on in Kano, in Lagos, we don't know what is going to happen.
Well, Mr. Gulano, his party says they're going to the tribunal.
What is
I find a contradiction.
No, to deepen our democracy is a different thing altogether. You can go to tribunal to test our judiciary. Because whether you like it or not, for instance, I listened to Mr. Nwanya who was saying some things today. I observed some things in your state also. There are some issues in the River State where people are saying that, okay, how can you manufacture that kind of 1.48 million? And we've seen people writing petition also about Kano, that how do you get that kind of amount of vote we got there? But if you look at it consistently for so long time, in the last 3 elections I've seen, that's how they have been voting in Kano. That has been their voting pattern. But I mean, surprisingly, in some areas in the eastern part of the country, you see, accredited 1.5 million, 1.48 million voting, as if nobody died, nobody traveled, no card loss, and all kind of a thing. So it's important. I will fully encourage PDP to go to tribunal to test that, so that we're able to deepen our democracy further. So it has something to do with the promise of Mr. President. Mr. President is different from PDP. So PDP can go ahead, because I know today, if you say PC, if APC lost this election, by now they have been preparing going to tribunal. So PDP should go to tribunal also to test our democracy. It's very important. But Mr. President, whether we like it or not, he has done very well. And it's an example that when our leaders know, at the end of the day, when you take a right step, people are going to praise you. They will be encouraged. And when they know also that when you do something wrong, you go to ICC, they will be prepared. So to do the right thing. I said the other time when I came here that Mr. President is about to make history. It's either he's going to make history, despite all this conspiracy and gang up against him. If he wins this election, he has made history. After all this, if he lost this election, and handover is going to make history. And if at the same time, if he do otherwise, it's going to make history. But today, he has made that history, because it has never been done that a sitting president in Africa would lose election, and even before counting the election, he has picked his phone and called the president-elect. So let us give that to him, so as to be able to encourage other leaders coming that when you do right, people are going to praise you.
But the elections, let me bring in Mr. The elections were characterized by, are reportedly characterized by irregularities in certain areas, Mr. Okechukwu. Would you say that these allegations are true, based on the overall picture?
I wouldn't like to give a percentage mark. But what I know in my 60 years in life is that there's no human endeavor, even the best World Cup finals, where you could not say, if you lose, that the referee could have given you a penalty at so point in time. It's a human factor. Otherwise, we'll have to congratulate Jega and his team for trying to adopt technology, because technology had advanced the world. We remember that there was a senior official of the government who once, as a minister of communication, said that telephone is not for the poor. Mm-hmm. But today, back in his hometown, the granite seller is using telephone. So we cannot run away from tech, because God, in his own infinite goodness, uses people to manufacture events or devices that advance human cause. So for that, we thank the INEC to insist. But we remember as well that some states deliberately did not use the card reader. Like where I'm coming from in the Southeast, they wanted to drop the card reader. We said no. We said no. You are going to win here, but don't give us millions anymore. Because the millions you gave us 4 years ago did not pay off. So it is a matter of who is now saying the degree, but the truth of the matter, as my colleagues have said, is that the victory is the victory for Nigerians. For us in the Conference of Nigerian Political Parties, we welcome the development, because we are saying now that the Nigerian voter have been armed with a powerful vote card, that even we will advise that there should be no protest. If APC in the event of the next 4 years disappoints Nigerians, that the Nigerian people should vote the APC out. Simple. So that you don't need to protest on the streets. Just leave them, don't wake them up. Keep your card coolly in your docket. If there's any other further review, I think it's a permanent voters card now, card. So since we are armed with permanent voters card, and we also get a reassurance that Muhammad Buhari, going by his own track records, as a Minister of Petroleum that never allocated any oil block to himself, owned a filling station, that he came in 2003, rented an apartment in Abuja. When he lost, after the court process, the rent expired. He went back to Kaduna. In 2007, he came, another apartment was rented for him. When the rent expired, he left. In 2011, he came, another apartment was rented for him. And in 2015, another one was rented. And luckily, for his perseverance, he won. What is his message? I take one critical look on one of his messages. He said, the Federal Executive Council I'm going to run will not be awarding contracts. That in the Procurement Act, there's a proviso for National Council on Procurement. I'm going to set that council up. It's going to be like a tenders board. Whoever is bidding for any contract goes there. The only time I can hear about that contract is if those who are appointed to the council fails to be transparent in the bidding process, then he will look into what's going on. Otherwise, nobody will come to his wife or his in-laws or his brothers to say he wants to get a contract. He will direct it to the National Council on Procurement, which is what is done all over the world. So if for that singular act, you will know the amount of money that Muhammad Buhari will save for the Nigerian states. You know the amount of encouragement he's going to give to entrepreneurs. Some sometimes get contract without even paying taxes. If tax is one of the guidelines, it means as a contractor, first and foremost, you go and pay into the Nigerian docket. As of today, what we are getting an average of the past 5 years is about 4.3 trillion from the Federal Inland Revenue Services. So if you do that kind of adoption, you can imagine that the tax revenue of the state will increase. So I do not see him disappointed, because at 73, it will be unlikely that he will now suddenly discover that he wants to build houses in Lagos, build houses in Abuja. I don't think that will happen.